Hey guys, how's it going? In this video, I talked to Dr. Anthony. He's a leading expert in the fitness industry for fathers. And in this video, we talk about what you need to do before you even lift a weight, things you can do if you're pressed for time and you want to get fit, and last but not least, how you can maintain your fitness levels through the newborn phase, coming right up. But hey, if you're joining us here for the first time, my name is Jonathan and I have a YouTube channel dedicated to full-time working new dads. I have a 2-year-old son myself, his name is Zachary, and I have another one on the way coming up shortly. On this channel, I just like to make videos. I like to talk to experts in the field about different things and, consider subscribing if you're into that stuff. In this video, I talked to Dr. Anthony and we're just gonna jump right in.
Really excited to meet you. My name is Dr. Anthony Balduzzi. I'm the founder over at the Fit Father Project, and I'm super excited to be doing this interview with the New Dad channel because what we do over at the Fit Father Project is we are the health experts for busy dads. Certainly guys over 40 who have been dads for a while and they've been through the struggles and the ringer and they have weight to lose, but certainly for new dads too who want to figure out, okay, life is changing a little bit. I have a new being in my life and my schedule's absolutely all jacked up. How do I make sure that I live a healthy life and stay healthy and set a good example for my kids and my family? So this is what we're going to talk about today. And Jonathan, I am so happy to be here with you. And I'm excited to talk about, your son, Zachary, and Joy, and how you're kind of pulling the family together. And we're definitely going to share some of the success secrets that we've learned over at the Fit Father Project and how any busy dad can maintain a healthy body and life.
That's great, Dr. Anthony. Thank you so much. I'm super excited too because, when I looked at your website, it screams out like inspiration, and I appreciate, you just being open, vulnerable, showing your strength there with, kind of how you got started. We're not going to dive deep into that just because you do such a great job of sharing, what that's all about. But let's just jump right into the plans or, the blocking and tackling. Love how you're just so practical, just with the short, bite-sized chunks, meal prepping. What do you see from guys who succeed in it and guys who don't stick to it?
Yeah. So ultimately, I think you hit on a couple of big things. For any busy guy, regardless of his age, who wants to live healthier and is also maintaining work and a family, the only health plan that's ever going to work is one that's simple and practical. And we need to start thinking about health in terms of habits and doing small habits to give us big results over the long haul. So this is one thing we do at the Fit Father Project. We help guys identify those simple health habits around eating, sleep, movement, and implement those into a system that's repeatable and runs on autopilot. So the good news is that you don't have to spend hours in the gym to get fit. And you don't have to be on some crazy bodybuilding style meal plan to lose the weight. We could do some simple things. So what we do, and I guess I'll get to your question, was really about what do we see the difference between the guys who succeed and guys who fail? Is that where you'd like to start?
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Yeah. So, the dads who succeed with their health, typically get on a system that's geared for dads who are going to succeed at their health. They're not following the same kind of plans that they might have done before they had kids. They were a bachelor. They had all the time in the world to go to the gym and do whatnot. So what we need to do is identify a couple key habits around eating, sleep, and exercise. And we'll start with eating because this typically is one of the biggest challenges for a lot of dads. It's that healthy eating, we all know, is the foundation of weight loss and really thriving. And so we need to figure out a structure, something like meal prep, that enables us to put our healthy eating on autopilot. Because what I can't have you doing is when you have a new human in your household and you have to make even more decisions, there's more decision fatigue, there's more things draining your willpower, is have to fight willpower battles every day around what foods you're putting in your mouth. So if we can do something as simple as on Sunday, we identify the healthy foods that you and your family already love, your healthy proteins, carbs, and fats. We buy those things in bulk. We prep them. We've made all the decisions for the rest of the week. So we don't have to fight these kind of willpower battles. And if you think about it this way, this is what the benefit of meal prep is. If you have 3 meals per day on average, 7 days a week, that's 21 decisions, little willpower battles that you have to nail and defeat. But if we can just make that decision ahead of time and prep the food, I guarantee any busy dad, if I showed up on your doorstep every time, Jonathan, you need to have a healthy meal, and I handed you some broccoli, some free-range chicken and an avocado with some healthy sauce, you'd be like, heck yeah, you'd eat that stuff. So why don't we do this for ourselves? So this is one huge thing, is that we need to get the nutrition right. And the second thing that kind of segues right from that is also understanding that a lot of dads don't understand that exercise is far less important than healthy eating. I think a lot of guys get into this all or nothing mentality where they feel guilty because they don't have the time anymore, particularly if they're a new dad, to get into the gym. And they feel like, screw it. If I can't get into the gym and work out, it's not even worth doing anything. And it's a really, really dangerous all or nothing mentality, because the fact of the matter is, with sleep and good eating, you can certainly lose a lot of weight and you can certainly maintain a good body. And if you even get into the gym, let's just say 2 30-minute sessions per week, doing the right kinds of stuff with a healthy eating plan and proper sleep, you can have an amazing body. In fact, it's probably more effective than some other BS routines that you see people do in the gym. So the message of hope here is that health can be simple, and you can have it all and really get on a healthy plan. And the guys who succeed, the dads who succeed, they typically get guidance. They get plugged into a system that works, and they don't try to do it on their own, because as a dad, you are officially the provider of the household in most family cases, right? And now you have a new one to take care of. So what we need to do is get you out of the executive position of your own health and get you into a system where you've created an environment around you that makes healthy living almost happen automatically. And it's not such an uphill willpower battle. So I'll pause there because I know you have a lot more questions, and we can tease all of that stuff out. That's just a big picture of really the mindset of what it takes to succeed.
That's awesome. And I know on your website, core values of like integrity and faith, that's not something you typically see on like a fitness thing. Could you please like talk about that and just how that plays into the picture?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it comes down to, I think one of the questions you sent me ahead of time that you said you wanted to discuss, which I love, is why do certain guys can't seem to get motivated to succeed when other guys seem to implement a plan and have good traction and get results and actually keep the weight off long term. And ultimately, when we look at health and fitness, we need to understand it's really not about the body as much as it is about a mindset game. In anything, when we want to achieve any goal, whether that's losing the weight, starting a new healthy habit, saving money, etc., it's a psychology game. How do we get ourselves in the right frame of mind to get motivated, to stay motivated, and to build the right healthy habits? And this is why we have core values of integrity and faith, because for us, what we've done, and we kind of help brainwash all the guys who join us at the Fit Father Project, is to understand health and being unhealthy is an integrity issue for dads who want to be the ultimate providers for their families. And we're not going to get into my backstory too much, but I essentially saw that happen to my dad. Growing up, he worked his ass off, and he neglected his health, and he died at 42 years young. And so that rewired my brain from a young age to be like, look, this health stuff isn't just about the 6-pack abs, the nice pecs, or even just like feeling great. It's like we are setting the tone for how the family operates, and we're making sure that we have, as men, have the lasting power to be with our family over the long haul. Mm-hmm. So when health and fitness and eating healthy and prepping your meals and getting to bed on time and drinking more water becomes tied to your core values of providing for your family, and for us, that's what integrity means. It is wholeness. It is an integration of both the fitness stuff with all the other core values that you have, and we meld them into one big thing. Your brain is a lot more motivated to stay on track because, a lot of us are okay if our bodies are, a little rounder than mainstream media says we think we should look. But a lot of us may have more of an emotional connection to why we should be doing these fitness things when it's related to, oh crap, this is the tone that I'm setting for Zachary's future. This is how he's seeing his dad behave. Man, that's a different conversation, and it motivates the brain in a much different way. And it provides what we call why power behind the change. So before we even get into the diet and exercise stuff with any of our Fit Father program members, the first thing they do is they go through this mission statement document creation, this 30-day mission statement, where we get them crystal clear on, yes, where they want to go, so goal setting, the costs of their current behaviors as it relates to their core values. And we're the Fit Father Project for a reason. Being a father, there's so many beautiful core values that comes from that. So the men that succeed with their fitness amidst busy families have that deep why power, and it's typically tied to all the things that they love, not just around aesthetics of their bodies.
And I'm guessing, if you get a crappy like why statement, you'll push back and you'll be like, no, this is not going to carry you through, this Fit Father Project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's the thing. Look, like it's kind of like the analogy of how does an airplane fly from like point A to point B? It's off track most of the time, but it's constantly course correcting, right? It's like a little veer here, a little veer here. That is health and fitness in a nutshell. Like, you will be on the regimen well for a little bit, but then you'll start to drift slightly. But what the why power does, coupled with a simple structure like we teach at the Fit Father Project, is create guardrails so those drifts are very small. And they're not 20-year drifts where you wake up when you're like, holy crap, I'm 45, I'm 60 pounds overweight. What the heck just happened? So anytime we can create guardrails to be like, look, you're going to go to a barbecue one weekend with your buddies, have some beers, eat some food you're not supposed to, wake up on Monday feeling like, holy crap, I blew it. That's not good. But if you have the structure and the why power to quickly make a pivot back on track, that's how you win the long-term game. And it's just huge for creating the guardrails to keep you moving forward.
Love that. Love that. And I want to touch on faith just a little bit because I know it creeps some people out. It's like, hey, I was signing up for a fitness thing, not like this religious thing. Can you touch on that just a little bit, for the people who are just a little bit, allergic to that?
Yeah. So, I mean, faith is, it's an interesting word. It has definitely a religious connotation. And I personally do have a religious connotation with that word. But we include that very specifically because ultimately it kind of comes into understanding fitness in the whole broad spectrum of your life in general. It's not an isolated component. It's integral to everything that you want to do. You want to perform in your work? Well, you need to eat the right way to have the energy and focus to do so. You want to be confident when you go into a meeting? Well, your body has to feel great and you have to be proud of how you look. So faith for us is this kind of, it's almost like this emergent property of understanding that this fitness stuff is bigger than just us. Now, you could take this to a cosmic kind of level, a cosmic theological level, and you could be like, hey, faith is about honoring this body that God gifted me if you were a theist. If you're atheist, faith could be understanding that in the whole context of human evolution and thriving, there is something bigger about maintaining your body as it relates to the propagation of your genes into the species and your fitness in this whole bioevolutionary framework. But the point of this faith thing is it almost, for me, conveys this idea that this is bigger than you. Decisions about what you eat and put in your body is bigger than you. And maybe it's even bigger than your family. Maybe it's even, we can start thinking about these things as the kind of culture we're creating for future generations and the thousands of hopeful years of humans to come. But this is what faith means for us. It's really understanding that the decisions we have don't have small microscopic importance. They may even have cosmic importance, and that kind of puts a bigger why power on the whole conversation too. So whether you believe in a God and you're honoring that God by, living in such a way, or you do not believe in God and you just realize that to be the fittest version of yourself, to survive this bioevolutionary slew, your body needs to be in such a way. That's kind of where faith comes in with us. It's very tied with this integrity core value. So I'm glad you brought them up together.
Yeah, it's just something that stood out, because it's something you typically don't see, but I love that because it's just, brings the whole picture and everything together, almost like you said, fitness is or weight loss even is not the end goal. That's just like a byproduct of what happens when you're living this healthy system. So I love that. And I want to also touch on, because we're almost assuming maybe that, this is you have a very logical kind of approach, right? Because who wouldn't want to live a healthy lifestyle? But I know there are some, and me included sometimes, that battle with mental illnesses. And you were saying earlier, it's kind of starts up here, right? And I know there's a huge population of people who have had, abusive upbringings, and food is almost like a coping mechanism. And so I was just curious, what do you see in that? And, is it obvious when people are writing their why statements? And I don't know, how do you tackle that barrier?
Yeah. And I would be surprised to find a single human 30, 40, 50 years old who doesn't have some emotional baggage at this point just by being alive. And certainly some of us have had more trauma than others. And it does play a huge factor in. Why? Because we talked about health being such a psychology and emotional game, right? It's about, we all know that the salmon is better than the burger on the dinner menu. It's just, what do we order, right? That's an emotional decision. It's not an information and logical based one necessarily. So I think this is why this foundational journaling and why work is so important, because the beautiful thing about our brains is despite the fact that we may have had certain kinds of trauma and thinking patterns up to this point, we can rewire our brains. We have neuroplasticity. We can learn up to the day we die. We can create new connections and new behaviors. I think if anything, that might be the superpower of our species. So what I would say, especially with most of the guys we help, and realize most of the guys we help are guys that have failed at 5 to 10 plus diets in the past and have accumulated weight over years, there's a lot of emotional baggage there with frustration and guilt and lack of confidence. So first off, know that the message of hope is that you always can turn a new leaf if you get a better plan in the right kind of environment. And the next thing I would say is that if you're not in a great place, like a lot of our program members, are certainly not in a great place, do not go at this journey alone. It is so easy to get dark in isolation. It's a lot harder to be dark and to get into a place where you can't climb out of when you're surrounded by a band of brothers who are following a common path and gives you something to fight for and people who genuinely want to support you. And so for guys who are serious about, anything in life, the best thing you can do is pretty much to hire a coach or to get plugged into a system that's producing those kind of results. Right. And so this is why all pro athletes have shooting coaches. They want to get better at free throws. They get a shooting coach. And the same thing actually applies with our fitness. And a lot of guys don't realize how important it is to get plugged into a structure and a system, particularly if you feel like you have some emotional baggage. And the other thing I would also say that's incredibly important is understanding the power when it comes to health and fitness of your environment. And we're the Fit Father Project for a reason, not just like the Fit Man Project, because we do believe that health starts at home. And the habits that you have are going to influence the habits that your wife has, that Zachary has. And so if we can manage the environment, we can create an environment that makes it easier for every single person to live healthier. Families either get healthy or get sick together. It doesn't typically happen in isolation. So when we can take a holistic approach and create an environment that makes it easier for your wife to stick on the meal prep too, and you feed your son these kinds of healthy foods and you guys exercise together, it's going to help negate some of the weight that some past traumas might be having on us. And it's going to make it a lot easier to stick. So it's a complex topic, and I absolutely respect that everyone's had, their own individual health struggles. I just want to come here with a message of hope. We have program members that have things that I would never happen to them, that I would never have wished upon my worst enemy. We have one man who I'm not going to share his name, but he is recovering from a near fatal gunshot wound to his face, where he lost about half of his face. And he has to go into emergency surgery to get half of his femur put in to replace his face. And the gunshot wound had to happen to do with, some other things that happened with his family. So crazy, crazy stuff. And this guy is absolutely kicking ass. I mean, I think in the past month, he's lost around 20 pounds and he's getting his body ready for surgery. So there is so much inspiration you can get when you're inside of a community. So that's highly what I recommend for anyone, whether it's ours or your community or someone else's community. Get plugged in. Don't do this alone.
That's so many power tips in that, community and just the environment and all of that. So awesome. Thank you. I'm going to switch gears a little bit to address like the new dads of the world. As you kind of pointed out earlier, next to zero time, between dishes and all of that. You mentioned meal prepping on Sundays. Any other like superpower tips on besides, at some point you just have to go and do it, but any like tips on like time saving, would you recommend a new dad to even get outside and exercise like in that, first couple months, or just stick to the meal plan? Is it like, sorry, you're going to be out of commission with exercise for a few months? I know nutrition is huge, so I don't know. What do you?
I definitely have some things to share here. Well, the first thing, believe it or not, before we talk about the why power is like the foundation, but and that's like layer 0. Layer 1 is nutrition, but there's another aspect to layer 0 that we haven't talked about yet that's particularly important for new dads, and that is the foundational importance of sleep. So sleep is the thing that really regulates our whole biocircadian rhythm and the cascades of hormones that help us feel energized, that help us fall asleep at night, that help us even burn fat and maintain a healthy metabolism. Sleep is the biological internal clock maintenance system that enables all of our hormones to fire and work properly. In new dads, there's lots of threats to sleep. It's the nature of the job. And so if I were coaching a new dad personally, what I would tell him is the number one most important thing we can do is, to the best of our ability, is make sure that we're getting as much quality sleep as we possibly can. And there's natural barriers to that. Sometimes you have to wake up, things like night terrors with your kids, or you got baby monitors and stuff to wake up. But as much as we can improve that sleep, that's probably the prime thing. I would rather have a dad sleep and eat well than eat well and exercise. If I had to pick two of those, I would drop exercise every day of the week, just because it's just sleep is so foundational. And what the research shows is that if you exercise on a sleep deprived diet, and you're trying to lose weight or, maintain a body, the weight that you do lose comes from muscle and not fat. And your metabolism and your blood glucose levels are all sorts of jacked up. In fact, after a night of missed sleep, so let's just say less than 6 hours of quality sleep, your body has a very, very low tolerance to carbohydrates. Carbohydrates that normally wouldn't spike your blood sugar crazy amounts do so the next day. You're more insulin resistant. So sleep is the foundation. So however we can audit that and improve that, that's where I would start. The next thing is, I don't know too many new dads. I know a lot of us are very busy, whether we're running businesses or raising families, etc., who can't find 7 to 20 minutes twice a week to get exercise in. No one's that busy. The president is not that busy. You can find 7 to 20 minutes to get some exercise in. And our YouTube channel is an amazing place to check out there if you actually want some workouts. We have 7-minute workouts. We have 24-minute workouts. All you need is a pair of dumbbells around 5 feet of floor space, and you can get a workout in. So time does not have to be a barrier if you know the right kinds of simple workouts that you can do at home. And just be realistic with what you can do. Set a target that you can hit. Schedule those workouts in like meetings, because a big thing that happens with new dads' lives is things become very reactive, right? Your schedule becomes reactive to the needs of your new family and the new structures. But if you can be a little more proactive about how you slot these 2 workouts in, those are your sacred dad time. Everyone can respect that. For 20 minutes, twice a week, on Monday and Friday, you have them right before breakfast, you get it done. It's scheduled in like a meeting, you're gonna be able to get it in. So I would say sleep, get that meal prep going, and then schedule in 2 to 3 of these short workouts, put them in your calendar as if they're meetings and they're sacred. If they get missed because something comes up with whatever, then you reschedule them as if they were a meeting. So if you start to treat your exercise like that, your consistency level is gonna go through the roof.
So many power tips there, man. I'm not even gonna pretend to summarize all of that, but I'm gonna definitely rewatch this and kind of point out those things. But I'll link the workouts up here to Dr. Anthony's pages. Thank you so much for that. And I just have one more question just to wrap everything up here. So if you had someone's ear for a minute, what kind of you've graced us with so much encouragement already, but just any last words you would tell someone, or someone who could care less about fitness, I don't know, what would you tell them? And
that's it. I get chills even thinking about this. Is health is the number one superpower that I wish all dads would triple down on. Whatever you want to do in life, thrive in your career, be a present husband or spouse, be a great father, make more money, be confident, have time for your hobbies. The best thing you can possibly do is optimize this vessel right here. It's the one thing you're going to carry with you until the day you die. Treating this thing and optimizing this thing makes every other thing you want to do in your life that much better. When we think even about our brains and our clarity of mind, our brain is this organ that's sitting in this neurochemical soup. And this soup, our cerebral spinal fluid is directly impacted by every single thing we put in our mouth. So there is not a single thing that you could do that would give you higher leverage of success in any other area of your life than getting some foundational health habits in place. I can't think of anything more powerful and more amazing, this is making bold claims here, but I would be shocked if every other area of your life, your relationship, your finances, your confidence would not improve by getting this area of your life handled. So I don't think there's a more important thing that you could focus on. And the good news is it doesn't have to run your life. You can create health routines that actually work for you. And that was 2 minutes of talking someone's ear off, but I took it.
Hey, I take it. Hey, Dr. Anthony, thank you so much for your time. It was great having you on New Dads, and just looking forward to the stuff that you have to put out. And I really appreciate and am inspired by what you do, and that's what we're trying to do here with New Dads. And just really appreciate it. Definitely find all the links below for the workouts for the program. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. So happy to be here. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, you too. So many power tips with Dr. Anthony. Comment below if you got something out of it. Just type in helpful, or just let me know. Hit the thumbs up if you got something out of this video. Here we like to inspire you to live the best version of yourself. So consider subscribing for more content like this. keep crushing it as a new dad, and I'll talk to you soon.